All right, let's get right into it. We're about to explore what is, frankly, one of the most difficult, but also one of the most transformative parts of the Way of the Logos framework. We're talking about unmasking the noise. That constant static that just seems to cloud up our inner world. This ancient scripture really sets the stage perfectly for the challenge ahead of us. It suggests that the real source of all our inner chaos, it isn't some enemy on the outside. It's something much, much closer to home. Something right here, inside the heart itself. And that right there, that's the central question of this whole explainer. We're diving deep into Module 4, which confronts this really powerful concept it calls the internal gaslighter, the true architect of our very own internal noise. So if we're going to solve this problem, we've got to diagnose it properly first. And let's be really clear, this isn't just about some vague idea of negative self-talk. No, we're talking about a very specific and frankly insidious mechanism that the framework calls the internal gaslighter. What's so amazing about the definition on this slide is just how precise it is. See, this is the part of our mind that is actively manufacturing a distorted reality. It's not just lying, it's weaving these compelling stories all for one single purpose, to protect our ego from the truth, especially when that truth is uncomfortable. Okay, so how does this internal gaslighter actually work? How does it build this noisy prison that we live in? Well, according to the source material, it uses 4 main methods of distortion. Let's map them out. And here they are. You've got resentment, which acts like an anchor, grandiosity, the balloon, self-pity, the shroud, and the last one, the physical lie. Getting a handle on these 4 is absolutely crucial if we're ever going to dismantle the noise they create in our lives. So first up is resentment. The framework calls it the anchor. And man, is that a perfect metaphor. Think about it. It holds us in place. By keeping our focus on what other people have done to us, what they owe us, we give ourselves the perfect excuse for why we're stuck, and we get to conveniently sidestep looking at our own failures. Second, you've got grandiosity, or the balloon. This is that puffed up sense of self we project, right? Using our so-called expertise or this thin layer of wisdom to feel better than everyone else. But what's really going on underneath? It's just masking this deep, profound fear of being seen as small or insignificant. Then there's the third distortion, self-pity, described as a shroud. It literally wraps us up, but not in comfort. It wraps us in our own past pain. And then we use that suffering like a shield. It becomes our go-to excuse to dodge the duties and the responsibilities that the present moment is asking of us. And finally, we get to the physical lie. And this one might be the most personal and painful of all. It's that core belief deep down that our physical form, our body, how we look, how we sound, is somehow a mistake in God's design. And that fundamental shame makes us want to hide from the world, convinced we're just not worthy as we are. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we've identified its 4 key symptoms. So what's the prescription? The framework calls it a brutal scrutiny of the heart. And trust me, brutal is the key word here. This is not gentle stuff. The source material is really clear on this point. This work is supposed to be hard. And why is that? It's because it forces us to go head-to-head with the very lies we might have built our entire identity around. It takes real, genuine faith to start digging for the truth that's buried under years and years of noise. Now, this scrutiny isn't just a vague idea. It boils down to 2 core, non-negotiable exercises that put all this theory into practice. You have the debt collection, which is like a forensic audit of all your resentments, and the physical audit, a direct, head-on confrontation with your physical lies. The absolute genius on this slide is the question itself. It has this incredible power to reframe everything. See, this exercise forces you to stop focusing on the other person. Suddenly, it's not about them anymore, it's about you. How is holding on to this grudge serving your ego? How is it helping you avoid the hard work of looking in the mirror? And that second mission, the physical audit, well, this is a direct physical confrontation. The instruction is literally to look in the mirror and say the lie out loud, to admit the story you've been telling yourself about your physical worth. It's all about dragging that lie out of the dark and into the light, where it can finally start to fall apart. And this just shows you exactly how it works in the real world. So a practitioner in this program kept telling himself this story that he was just nervous whenever his voice would crack during a presentation. But after going through this brutal scrutiny, the real truth came out. His excuse of nerves was actually a cover for the much deeper issues of arrogance and laziness. He hadn't prepared properly because deep down, he didn't think he should have to. So, after all of this really hard, brutal work of self-examination, the module finishes with a prayer. But this isn't just tacked on at the end. It is the outcome. It's this moment of complete surrender and a plea for real, honest clarity. This prayer is just so powerful. It acts as both a full admission of guilt and a clear mission statement for an entirely new way of living. It's about taking total ownership of the noise and then asking to be stripped of the very excuses we just spent all this time uncovering. At its heart, it's a plea for freedom from our own self-deception. And that brings us to the final, and I think most crucial, takeaway. If we can truly accept that we are the architects of our own internal chaos, well, that implies something absolutely incredible. It means we also have the power to choose and to build something new in its place. Not just getting rid of the noise, but building a restorative, life-giving silence.